Hello everyone and welcome to the other semi-final match of the Speed Chess Championship. It is Magnus Carlsen versus Maxime Vachier-Lagrave, and the winner of this match will face Hikaru Nakamura in the finals of the Speed Chess Championship. Now this is a game from the 5+1 section which just finished. I'm not going to mention the results as we are going to cover at least one more game from this match, but this is truly a beauty. So let's dive straight into it and see what this is all about. It's Magnus with the white pieces and he opens with d4. We're gonna have a very weird setup right from the beginning. Sorry about that. Maxime replies with knight to f6. We have knight to f3, g6, and now knight b to d2. Already a very weird setup. d5 by Maxime, and now b3. Very, very rare. Been played only a few times, but Magnus is the one person who actually played it, and he played it in a classical event, but we're gonna get back to that. Bishop to g7, bishop to b2, and this is the position that Magnus had this year in the European Club Cup against Marco Baldauf, and he won the game very nicely. In that game, the game continued with Marco castling, but here Maxime plays bishop to f5, and okay, e3, and now Maxime castles, and it is now as of move 6 that we have a completely new game. We have bishop to e2, knight to e4, and now Magnus castles. We have pawn to c5, striking against the white center. Of course, you cannot capture because the bishop on b2 will hang, so knight to e5, an excellent square for the knight, and now knight to c6. We have knight captures on e4 by Magnus, bishop captures, and now knight captures on c6 first. A nice Zwischenzug, b captures on c6, and pawn to c3 now. For the moment, closing up your dark square bishop, but once you develop your pieces, the bishop will come alive. So Maxime develops the queen, connects his rooks, wants to put pressure on the a2 pawn, and Magnus advances it to a4, and he prepares such a tricky maneuver that is too tricky even for him and even for Maxime. So c captures on d4 by Maxime, and now while Magnus should capture on d4, he plays pawn to b4. And now, okay, Maxime's queen is hanging, he moves it back to b6, but what he should play is actually d captures on c3. Incredible, but yes, you should give up your queen here, and if b captures on a5, then c captures on b2, and look at the bishops here, absolute monsters. White has nothing better than to give up the rook here. Bishop captures on b1, queen captures, and now c5. And now look at this, c4, c3. This will be incredible. The rooks are coming to maybe b8 and c8. You're gonna continue pushing. If rook to d1, you can even defend this pawn and then put the rooks behind this pawn, then advance the pawn. It would be very, very difficult to hold this, especially in blitz. But Magnus tricks Maxime. He goes back, queen to b6, and now pawn to a5. We have queen to b8, and now only now c captures on d4. We have queen captures on b4, and now bishop to a3. Going after that e6 pawn, sorry about that arrow, queen to b7 defending the pawn, and now queen to d2. We have rook f to c8, and now pawn to a6, chasing the queen further back, queen to c7, and now pawn to f3, bishop to f5, and now pawn to g4. And here Magnus tricks Maxime for the second time. It seems that you can't go to d7 because of bishop captures on e7, but this is the absolute best move you should play, because now if Magnus captures, you can simply capture on g4, and now it's Magnus who's in trouble. You have to move the bishop back, then Maxime moves the bishop back, and he completely opened up the white king. But instead, he trusted Magnus. Again, he went bishop back to e6, and this prevents him from executing the much needed e5 central breakthrough. So here rook a to b1 by Magnus, going for that b7 square, rook a to b8, and now bishop to c5, putting continuous pressure on that a7 pawn. h5 by Maxime, and here this is already I think Maxime starting to get a bit nervous. You have to play a waiting move here and wait for Magnus to go for something, but Maxime goes for the attack. He plays h5, and okay, Magnus plays g captures on h5. He doesn't mind the g file opening up. He can play king to h1, put the rook on the g file, and go after the black king. But Maxime has different plans. Bishop to f5, and now bishop to d3. Going after the bishop here, not allowing Maxime to keep an intact structure defending his king. e5. Now finally Maxime gets this central breakthrough in h captures on g6, bishop captures on g6, f captures on g6, and now queen to g2. And now the g file opened up. Magnus is going after the g6 pawn. We have queen to f7, and now d captures on e5. And here you have it's an incredibly difficult position. It's hard to find a move here for Maxime. With queen to f5, you still hold the position a little bit, putting pressure on that rook on b1, maybe trying to get white to trade on b8, but after bishop captures on e5, there is just no defending this position. Magnus goes pawn to f4, attacks the bishop, bishop back to g7, and now queen g4, puts pressure on the rook, and now trading is impossible because the queen first picks up the rook on c8 with check, and then you gobble up the second rook. So here, rook to e8 by Maxime, and now rook captures on b8, a very simple conclusion. Rook captures, and now pawn to f5. This is how Magnus blasts through the position. G captures on f5, rook captures on f5, attacking the queen, and there's not much Maxime can do here. The bishop is coming to d4, the bishop is pinned, you're not going to be able to move it. The rook is coming to g5. This pressure is unbearable. Rook to b1 check. Maxime tries a few more checks. Rook b2 check, king h3, queen to c7, but now Magnus finishes with a spectacular move. Black is getting checkmated, so feel free to pause the video and checkmate the black king while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on spotting the unstoppable mate in 5. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it is rook to f8. That's the good stuff. Rook to f8 check, and black resigns. And in fact, it was in this position that Maxime Vachier-Lagrave resigned the game, as he is now getting checkmated. If the game continued, the game would continue king h7. And now, of course, the bishop cannot move. The queen pins the bishop. Queen to h5 check, bishop to h6. These are only moves. Queen to f5 check, king g7, and now a nice bishop to d4 check fork. You have to block with the queen. Queen to e5, this looks disgusting, and now bishop captures on e5 will be checkmate. So brilliant stuff by Magnus, pulling a mind trick twice, not once but twice on MVL. First time with this spectacular b4 move, Maxime not realizing he could play d captures on c3, and then once again after he chased away the bishop with the g4, tricked Maxime into thinking bishop to d7 was not an option when it was in fact the best move. So nicely done by Magnus, very, very nice positional masterpiece. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. We'll see what happens in the rest of the match. Still, we have the 3+1 and the 1+1. We'll see how it goes. So yeah, that's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I would like to thank Chris, Robert, Picard, Sapan Bhatia, Sarah Hamilton, Jonathan Hirschi, and Clothesbox for a contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing the coverage of this spectacular event until it finishes. So thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.